Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Critic Box, your no bullshit, no beating around the bush, cut to the chase movie review podcast where we, you and I, the audience, the viewers, the most important people in the film industry have the final say, just the way it should be. We won't be using fancy adjectives or film school terminology to mask indecision. We will not comment on the film's composition, its mise-en-scene, or reach an artistic description of the film that is completely out in left field. No. We value your time. That is why we are here. So you don't have to go through scrolling through Rotten Tomatoes and be thrown around in different directions. This movie was a sardonic and tonally daring take on. No, fuck that. What happens when you sit down in the theater or on your lazy boy? You turn on the tube and commit 120 minutes of your valuable time to a feature film. Did you forget about your asshole neighbor who never picks up his dog shit in front of your house? Did you transcend to a new universe? Did you forget where you were? Did you have a slight tingle in your balls during the final climatic scene? Yes? Okay, that's what we're going to get to. We're filtering out all the garbage, putting it all away where it belongs, and getting down to the nitty-gritty and letting you know if these movies are worth your valuable and precious time. And what a pair of movies we have been gifted for our first episode, folks. Amsterdam. Let me just say, this movie right here, my movie review, will prove to you alone that we are not fucking around. And the final installment of one of the greatest horror trilogies of all time, Halloween Ends. Gear up, folks. Here we go. Okay, so we're starting out in all places, Rotten Tomatoes. And I picked a few reviews for you folks, and we're just going to go through them and pick them apart. And I'm basically going to give you my thoughts, and ultimately we'll get through all the reviews, and then I'll give you the best review, my review that represents the audience, and again, whether or not it's worth your time. So here we go. First guy, Frank J. Avella from Edge Media Network. The film is stunningly shot by Emmanuel Lubezki, who has the camera revel in the zaniness. The film moves swiftly, and in the end, we are left with heady themes about how history seems to keep repeating itself. Heady themes. See, this is what I'm talking about, guys. These critics and their beat around the bush reviews on whether this movie is something that is artistically pleasing to the audience. You know, I've watched a good amount of movies in my time, and I don't think many people are going to relate to zaniness or whether the themes were heady. Is the film worth our time? And this is what we're going to get at. Let's move on here. So that was a good review. Let's see a bad review. And I tell you, folks, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek to my review of Amsterdam. And you're going to see I lean a lot, and I mean heavily a lot, towards the negative review of this movie. It's just god-awful, hot garbage. Anyway, so here we go. Tara Brady from the Irish Times. My lads out in Ireland. Gorgeous cinematography from Emmanuel, this Lubezki guy. Judy Becker's excellent production design, and Albert Wolski's fabulous costume. I'm getting ill just reading this. Fabulous costumes add to the frustration. A good-looking waist, but a waist not... What? Where is Tara? Where is Tara going? That was a roller. So first she's commenting on an excellent production design, which we don't give a fuck about. And then we go to costumes. And it's saying how it's fabulous, and then she says it's adding to the frustration. Tara, you're frustrating me. Why do you have a job? The Irish Times needs a new review. Anyways, this is, again, guys, this is the shit we're talking about. That was just a waste of 30 seconds of our time. And you want to sit down and watch for 120 minutes, 2 hours? Unbelievable. Jessie Thompson, Independent, UK, top critic. And Tara was a top critic, and she's talking to me about costumes. Jesus Christ. Okay, so Jessie Thompson, Independent, UK, another top critic. She gave a pretty good review, 3 out of 5. The central performances are charming, and stretches of the film are enjoyable. Stretches. Well, I think that's a stretch there, Jessie. Everything looks stylish and wonderful. Everyone has nice hair. Jessie, nice hair. The thing is, there's a great film in here fighting to get out, but it's drowned out by manic plotting. And you know what? I agree with that. It's funny. After I watched the video, I thought to myself, did Christian Bale call up a bunch of A-listers and say, hey, guys, you know what would be funny to shoot a film in the 1920s and, we could fuck around and get drunk and do drugs in the back and it would be all good? No, I think this budget on this film, I looked it up, was $80 million. $80 million. Just for actors to get, we had top-notch actors. Let's call a spade a spade. We had David Washington. We had, of course, Christian Bale. We had Taylor Swift even made an appearance. We had the roster. So I think at the end of the day, this film, was just a bunch of A-list actors, people in Hollywood saying, hey, you know what, I really wanted to work with this guy. The plot is shit. The writing is shit. The whole idea of the movie is shit. But, I really wanted to work with these guys. And this director, he made a couple good movies. The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg. And what else did he make? American Hustle. Oh, Christian Bale again. So, I don't think that this movie was made necessarily for the audience. And that in itself says enough. Who is the most important people in the film industry? You and me. So, anyways, we're going to get down to this last, if it's even worth it, but we're going to get down to this last review, and it's a good review. I'm going to pick the good review because they're hilarious. Of course, going back to Rotten Tomatoes, first critic here, James, Berardinelli. Berardinelli. Here we go, top critic. It's not a bad way to go out. At least it has the virtue of trying something new. Okay. Well, I think right there that screams maybe avoid this movie here. And this is the tough part. And again, I'll get into it with my own review. But it's Halloween. It's the godfather of horror movies. It's the godfather of slasher movies. And it's almost like you got to go see it. You got to see it. But in terms of worth your time, if you are a die-hard horror film fan, like I would consider myself a die-hard horror film fan, then you got to go see it. Then what are we even talking about? But if you're kind of on the fence about it, I think, James, he gave it a good review, a 3 out of 4. But on the merit that it's not a bad way to go out, at least it has the virtue of trying something new. I think that tells you, for those folks on the fence, maybe let's check out something else for your Friday night movie. Okay, so we'll go to the second. That was a good review, so let's go to a bad review or a lower scoring review. Jocelyn Novak from the Associated Press, another top critic. Do you want closure in a satisfyingly coherent way? That's not what you'll get. Did you want to see Curtis in one or more, we think, badass performances as durable Laurie Strode? So Curtis, she's talking about Jamie Lee Curtis. Of course, she was in the original John Carpenter Halloween. She was the survivor from that in the 70s when the first movie came out. And yeah, it is actually quite a trip to see Jamie Lee Curtis getting up there in age, But yeah, I have to be honest with you, that was probably the best part of the movie, was seeing Jamie Lee Curtis kick some ass. Anyways, whom she's been playing for some 45 years. Jesus Christ. So she says you'll get that. You'll get the closure, which, I mean, you will get the closure if that's what you're after. If you've been a fan of these Halloween films, you will get some closure. Is it the closure you wanted? Fuck if I know. I always find that horror film fans, and again, I'll throw myself in there, are always divided about movies. But again, horror films are always scored so low. They're hard to really get a basis on what is, again, why we're here, and that is it worth your fucking time? So I'll do one more, and then I'm going to get into my own review of the Halloween Ends movie. So we got Philip de Semlin. Jesus, some of these names, man. Time Out. That's the site or the magazine this guy's from. He's a top critic. If Laurie Strode, so that's Jamie Lee Curtis's character, is a pastiche, all these words, of her original John Carpenter iteration, then so is the movie. But it's just got enough fresh ideas, laughs, mostly intentional, and queasy jump scares to make for Arrakis Friday night at the movies. Ooh, Philip. Yeah, I mean, ideas they do. They really do have some fresh ideas, guys, with this movie. I found so there's been three installments in the last 4 years of the Halloween series. And I would say of the three, this one definitely has, more surprise, more fresh ideas in terms of the storyline and who's doing what. But the jump scare, maybe it's the times, maybe it's my age. It just seems like the jump scares, the slasher killer movies have just lost their pizzazz. You need to get more into the psychological, mystique in horror films to really, make it scary. Unless you got, you're sitting at your house, maybe you smoked a little weed or something, and it's dark, and drapes are down, and you got the sound on full blast. Okay, maybe a slasher will give you that scare. But for myself, I find that you need to get a little deeper than just a crazy killer running around. So, hopefully this is an installment of Halloween as a whole. It's just such an iconic film series. It plays such a big role in horror. Just Michael Myers himself is just everyone can identify him. Even the soundtrack, the sound, the opening credits when he's about to kill someone, the song, I guess you would call it, the instrumentals, is iconic. Everyone can identify it. So my review is I actually like this one. I thought this was a really well done film, but comparing it to the last two installments that were done by this director, which I thought were god awful. So I was pleasantly surprised. And to Philip from Time Out's point, there were some fresh ideas which I liked. I liked the way that the director went with closing out the storyline. But so I'll break it out down into two. For the folks that are diehard horror film fans that are on the fence about going and seeing this movie, I would say go see it. It's a good horror movie. For the for the folks that aren't really huge into horror, and you're on the fence, let's avoid it. Let's go on Netflix. They have one of the streaming services and throw on a scary movie that's free. I wouldn't go to the movie theater and pay $12 for the movie and you're $8 for popcorn. I would stay home and microwave popcorn and free movie. And the people that are just, and then the final folks that I want to speak to are the Halloween Mike Myers gurus, the people that are just obsessed with Halloween. I know a few of them. What are we even talking about? You're gonna go see it, so just go see it. And then if you liked it, or if you didn't like it, or you didn't like my review, let me know, because I myself am not a huge, I like Michael Myers, I like the Halloween series, but I don't know the everything about it. So I would like to know what you folks, the folks that know more about the series, the Halloween trilogy, and what you think about the full three movies that have been released in the last 3-4 years. I myself, and hopefully I can get some feedback on this hot take, I thought Rob Zombie's two installments of the Halloween series were far superior than the last three movies that were just released. They just were bloodier, they made more sense, it was more realistic, they got into the mental hospital, they got in behind the whole, that's what I was talking about earlier, the psychological horror films are the ones that really hit home, and that's what Rob Zombie did. And this guy's a freaking, by trade, he's a musician. So anyways, overall, those are my reviews. I broke it down into 3 parts. The Halloween Ends gurus, what are we even talking about? You're going to go see it anyways. Folks that aren't really big horror film fans, that want a little scare, stick to Netflix. And the folks that just enjoy horror films in general, like myself, I highly recommend it. Yeah, it's a good one. Anyways, we're going to move forward here. This is going to be our final portion of the episode. We're going to do upcoming movies, man, and I am just, it's like, I'm a trailer guy. I just love trailers. arguably, unless the movie's just fantastic, my favorite part of watching a movie is the starting part in the movie theater where they show all these fucking movies coming out, and you're like, oh, why isn't this coming out tomorrow? So here's some of the movies. The first one, Avatar 2. Holy shit! Thank God we did not hold our breath. The first Avatar, guys, came out in 2009. I was in grade 11 at the time, and regardless, it was just, I thought it was an amazing, even if you're not a sci-fi fan, this movie was unbelievable. I think it broke boundaries with CGI, bringing in those blue people. And if you ever seen the behind the scenes, I highly suggest checking out the behind the scenes of Avatar. It is wild. A little disturbing, just weird what the actors had to go through to portray these Na'vi, I think they're called, the blue people in Avatar. But yeah, so anyways, big news. So that they actually started filming in 2017. I was doing a little research on it, not all because of COVID, but of course COVID probably had something to do with it. But they've been filming a long time, guys, almost 5 years. 5 years, and so it'll be coming out December 16th. I'm going to go see that movie. I think a lot of people are going to go see that movie. Mr. Cameron, Canadian content, one of the greatest directors in my opinion. The guy can do no wrong when he decides to put something up on the big screen. But so yeah, December 16th. And the big news for this one is they plan to do 3 more. So they're actually almost done Avatar 3. They're 95% done Avatar 3. So they did a lot. Apparently they did a lot of scenes for Avatar 3 with Avatar 2, and then they're going to do the follow-up films till Avatar 5 in 2028. So much of the cast is returning, and little sneak peek here, or a little information here. Apparently Vin Diesel is going to be in this fucking movie. So for any Fast and Furious fans or just Vin Diesel fans, I mean, the guy is a legend in his own right, not necessarily because he's a good actor. It's just because it's fucking Vin Diesel. But anyway, so Avatar 2, December 16th, 2022. The next movie is a big one, guys. This is it's a bit of a tearjerker in terms of just even talking about it. Black Panther 2 coming out November 10th. As you know, Chadwick Boseman passed away of cancer, and he was a big piece in Hollywood, and especially because of his role in Black Panther. He was just a phenomenal actor, and from what I hear, he's just a phenomenal person. So the Black Panther's coming out November 10th, and I'm hoping the best. I really hope we get a good review on this one, man. It's going to be tough. Like, how do you fill the shoes? Like, I think you just avoid it. You avoid filling the Black Panther shoes. Maybe at the end, someone rises to the occasion and they just fit into the suit. Who knows? I hear someone is stepping into the suit at the end of the movie. Who it is, I don't even want to think about. I don't think it's out of respect for Chadwick Boseman, but also, like, those are some big fucking shoes to fill, man. That guy is was a beast. And yeah, so Black Panther, and you know what? Another little sneak peek, or who gives a shit information. Rihanna is on the soundtrack. So if you're a big Rihanna fan, he's there. And then UFC champ Kamaru Usman is in the movie too. So that'll be pretty cool, I think. But yeah, overall, I'm really excited to see that movie. I hope they do it justice. I hope they do Chadwick some justice. And yeah, that's probably one of my favorite Marvel movies. I'm not a huge fan of Marvel movies, as you know, Mark. I don't know if you know, but Martin Scorsese calls them amusement park films. There's not a whole lot of sustenance to the movies themselves. But I disagree. I think movies like the Black Panther really hit home. And of course, because of Chadwick's recent passing, I think this one will be a really good one, guys. So yeah, excited for that. Black Panther 2, November 10th. And then finally, rounding it out, there's a lot of good movies coming out, guys, that we're going to go over, but I chose this one. I think John Wick 4, March 24th, 2023. Apparently, it's a 2-part finale. Man, if you've ever seen these movies, I think they're one of the best shot action movies in the recent decade. The storyline itself is kind of shit and unbelievable. It's not believable. And this guy, this John Wick guy, it's just very hard to believe. But the action in it is so friggin' good that you don't even think about that. Like just everything about the action scenes is phenomenal. It's action movies have been coming out forever, and the fact that they can come out with different aspects of action scenes, different moves, different things that you would never think to see with the guns and the knives and all this stuff, all the shit that John Wick goes through. The guy takes a fucking beating, and I gotta say I love it. Like it's I mean, Keanu Reeves is Canadian content again. He's salt of the earth. You don't want to see a guy like that go through the abuse that he does, but it is fucking entertaining. So John Wick 4, March 24, 2023, and apparently the director has said that John Wick will not ride out to the sunset, so maybe this guy's number is finally up. We'll see, but man, that guy can take a beating. So yeah, those are the upcoming movies. We got Avatar 2, December 16th, Black Panther 2, November 10th, John Wick 4, March 24th, 2023. Keep your eye on those guys. I think those movies will be pretty fucking good. Other than that, that's it for the show, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please, if you can, subscribe, leave a comment. And hey, for the critics out there, if you're brave enough, we're looking to host 2 critics, one with a good review, one with a bad review of upcoming movies of, sure, we'll even let you choose the movie. And we'll battle it out. We'll talk about it. And remember, guys, why we're here, we just want to make the most use of your time. You got a lot going on. Your time's precious. It's precious. It's precious to your mom. It's precious to your dad. It's precious to everybody. So let us take care of the dirty work, and we're just going to let you know if this movie is worth your time. Cheers. Have a good day.